Alright, so is there really a difference between these two primers? And if so, what is the difference? I've been using them for at least 2 months now, and I feel like I have a really good idea of how they wear, how they work, and if there really is a difference between the two, which one you should choose, which one I like more, etc. First off, I'm using the Pore Eclipse on the right side of my face. This primer is a lot thicker, it's more silicone-y, it feels a lot more mattifying. It's definitely thicker, not really like a lotion, but a very lightweight silicone based lotion. And as I apply it, it just feels very lightweight. It's a little hard to blend and it's a little hard to spread across my face since it's so thick and not as liquidy. It's just a little harder to apply, so I feel like I do need to use 1 or 2 squeezes to actually cover my whole face. The Pore Eclipse primer is supposed to be a little bit more mattifying and it should really help with the pore minimizing effect. My face definitely looked a little more matte, but I did still have some shine to my face. I still had some hydration to my face. It wasn't a fully mattifying primer. As for my pores, I did feel like it blended out my pores. It gave a blurring effect, but as you can probably see on my nose, I did still see some pores. It didn't really fill in all my pores and give it that poreless effect. I think I did a really good job at it. I just don't think that it gave a huge pore filtering effect. Moving over to the left side of my face, I will be using the Hydro Grip primer. And this primer is a lot more runny, it's a lot more clear. You can definitely feel the gripping effect that it has. And while applying this primer, you can just even tell it's a lot smoother. It's a lot more easy to spread across my face with the primer brush. It has a little bit more liquidity to it to make it easier to spread. And I think that's what I love the most. I don't need to use as much primer on my face to cover my whole face. As you can probably tell, the Hydro Grip primer is definitely more hydrating. It kind of gives a similar look when I compare it to the Pore Eclipse primer. I feel like they both look hydrating. They both look the same. One's not as mattifying than the other. You would think that the Pore Eclipse primer would be a lot more mattifying, but when you look at both sides, you can kind of tell I still have some glow to myself and I still have hydration to my skin. So that was a little weird to me. I would think that the Pore Eclipse would be a lot more mattifying, especially for those with oily skin. I thought that it'd be a lot better at mattifying my skin because I do like a matte look because I get so oily, but it didn't really do that for me, which was really surprising. The Hydro Grip primer, it didn't diffuse my pores as well, I would say, as the Pore Eclipse primer. I would say yes, the Pore Eclipse primer is a little bit better, but overall, both of them pretty much look the same. Application wise, I would say I prefer the Hydro Grip primer only because it just spreads so much more easily. I don't have to use as much. I still get that hydrating effect, but I also still get the gripping effect. So moving on to foundation application, I honestly didn't feel or see a difference when I applied foundation on top of these two primers. For both primers, it honestly made my foundation go on so much better. It makes my medium coverage foundation look like a fuller coverage foundation if that's what you're going for, because it just grips onto the foundation and it holds it there. I just feel like my foundation looks so good. Moving on to the bronzer, the contour, and the blush application. Since the primers really grip onto what you're applying on top of it, I did feel like the bronzer, the contour, and the blush just went on so much more pigmented. But just be really careful when applying products on top of the foundation and the primer, because the bronzer and the blush like really grip onto the foundation. If you just like touch it, you're gonna get a a spot of bronzer that's hard to blend out. I apply contour to my nose and it just like grips on to my face a little too well where I cannot blend my nose out. I cannot blend the bronzer that I'm putting on my nose because you apply it and it just sticks there. I am going to continue using the primer, but I'm actually just not going to apply it to my nose at all because it makes it harder to blend out my contour on my nose. You would think that that's weird because it's a pore filling primer, but I just don't like how it looks. I don't like how the contour blends. So there's a day when I didn't want to use an eyelid primer and I just had the primer underneath my foundation. The interesting thing is that I was still able to apply my eyelid shadow really well without using an eyelid primer because of these primers. It makes your eyeshadow a lot more pigmented. It really just holds on and grips to your eyeshadow. So that's just interesting and I wanted to point that out. So I've had my foundation and my makeup on since about 11 a.m. today and I'm just gonna wear it throughout the day, show you how both primers wear. All right, it's been 9 hours. What do you think? I am shiny. And it's not just the lights making me shiny, I'm pretty shiny. If I were to ask you which side was which, could you actually tell which one was which? Because I can't. Like, I'm super shiny on both sides and I don't look any different on both sides. Quite honestly, I'm never this shiny. Both of these primers honestly give me the same result. I'm going to blot my face and I'm going to show you how it looks with my face blotted. I honestly feel like my foundation looks amazing. I feel like it looks so smooth and my foundation is still on my face. It didn't really come off around my nose or around like my cheeks or my chin area. So I feel like it did really help with the longevity of my makeup, but unfortunately it really didn't help with the shine. And as you could tell, I got oily on both sides of my face with both primers. If you like one more than the other when it comes to application, then I think that one's more for you. If you like the pore minimizing and slightly mattifying look, then I would say go for the Pore Eclipse. Personally, I prefer the Hydro Grip Primer just because it's easier to spread and it's a little bit more hydrating on my skin. It feels a little bit better and it just costs less to use. That's what gives it the edge over the other primer. But I really hope this video helped you figure out which primer is right for you and I hope it was really helpful. If it was helpful, give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.